Mankind is the only form of life to step back and take a long, hard look at our only home. Our intelligence has brought us here, and it has also brought us much closer to another world within us. And within this universe, ironically, lies the blueprint for our future. Cancer. It is a biocode gone wrong. It is delighted by what we do to feed it. The menu we've provided for these creatures is becoming more extensive by the day, except that one human being found a way to close the pantry doors a long time ago, in 1928. This is that story. The Center for Food Safety is a national nonprofit organization working to protect consumers and the environment from the hazards of harmful food production technologies and promote organic and other forms of sustainable agriculture.
One of the great misconceptions we have about genetically engineered food is that the genie is out of the bottle, and you hear all the time 60 or 70% of foods got genetically modified ingredients in it. Not true. 60% of processed food has genetically engineered ingredients. Actually, almost none of your whole foods are genetically engineered. None of your fruits, none of your vegetables, your meat, your fish, most of your dairy products are completely free of genetically engineered ingredients. As a matter of fact, there's only really 4 genetically engineered crops. That's corn, cotton, canola, and soy. So we have stopped genetically engineered wheat. We've stopped genetically engineered rice. We've stopped genetically engineered fish. We've stopped these biopharmaceuticals. We're seeing that really genetically engineered food is one of the great failures of modern agriculture. It's being rejected around the world. And not only can we stop it, we are stopping it. There are 5 companies that are behind GMOs. You have Monsanto, DuPont, Bayer, Syngenta, and Dow. Those are the big 5 companies behind genetically engineered foods, and they all share one thing in common. They're not agricultural companies, they're chemical companies. And there's a reason for that. Genetic engineering today means only one thing, not all the stuff that's been advertised, all the myths about more food, more nutritious food, tastier food, all nonsense science fiction. These chemical companies have engineered these crops so they can withstand more and more of their herbicides and pesticides. And they selling hundreds of millions of more tons of their chemicals. That's what they're about. I'm not surprised that Monsanto did not want to interview for this film. Monsanto has developed a technology which has one purpose and one purpose alone, which is they can sell more of their herbicides.
Garrett was shocked to find in doing his homework that many of the people that work for these chemical companies later worked in government positions that were supposed to regulate these corporate giants. Sometimes they went back to work for the corporations again. Employees commonly move through what has been coined the revolving door between corporations and the public agencies that regulate them. Monsanto should not have to vouchsafe the safety of biotech food. Our interest is in selling as much as possible. Assuring its safety is the FDA's job. But when this quote is said alongside a statement from the Food and Drug Administration, it simply doesn't give the casual food eater much protection. The boy found this all very disturbing, with 0 credibility left over for either group.
Ultimately, it is the food producer who's responsible for assuring safety.
So really it's up to the good nature of the biotech companies to provide studies to the government. But mostly this is an unregulated industry, and this is our food.
One of the great questions people ask is, are genetically engineered foods lethal? Are they toxic? And the FDA gave us an answer. The Food and Drug Administration of the United States gave it an answer. In the 80s and 90s, they looked at these foods and said, yes, the process of genetic engineering can take a non-toxic food and make it toxic. It can create new allergens. It can lower nutrition in food. It can lower our immune response. And in certain cases, we even see these foods have the potential to create cancer, certain of this technology. So the answer is in on whether GM foods are lethal or toxic. Yes, the very process can make a safe food and turn it into a toxic food and potentially a lethal food. The objective of Monsanto is clear. Monsanto has become the largest seed company in the world. Monsanto is in the process of buying up all the seeds of the world, which they then want to patent and control so that farmers will not be able to save those seeds. And they want to genetically engineer those seeds, and they want to put something called terminator technology in those seeds. And this has those seeds create suicide after one growing season so that farmers cannot save those seeds. So what Monsanto's really after is controlling all the seeds of the earth and making sure that the farmers of the earth cannot save those seeds. This becomes extremely important when you realize that 80% of all the farmers of the world depend on seed saving for their survival. So if Monsanto is able, either through patenting or through this Terminator technology, to destroy their ability to save seeds, the result will be mass starvation.
Ridicule followed Gerson as well after he discovered a cure for his migraine headaches and then tuberculosis by changing the diet. A clinical trial was undertaken with 450 incurable skin tuberculosis patients. None of them recovered at first, and Gerson was devastated. But then it was discovered that a nurse was sneaking pastries, beer, and sausages to the patients. The Gerson diet was then strictly followed, leading to the recovery of 446 of the 450 patients. Then, he discovered it cured cancer. In World War II, Gerson was able to flee Nazi persecution with his family to the United States. He continued to not only cure cancer, but other chronic diseases too. And when his close friend Dr. Albert Schweitzer suffered from diabetes, he cured Dr. Schweitzer as well, leading Schweitzer to assess and declare that Gerson was, quote, the most eminent genius in medical history. In July of 1946, Senator Claude Pepper held Senate subcommittee hearings over Dr. Gerson's cancer therapy. The astounding testimony was quickly reported by ABC News commentator Raymond Graham Swing over ABC Radio. The public's reaction was swift and favorable, but the broadcast resulted in the firing of Raymond Graham Swing 2 weeks later due to severe pressure by the pharmaceutical and American medical establishment.
I was investigated 5 times.
What do you mean by being investigated, sir?
On the AMA.
They investigated you?
Yes, 5 times. Every time they come, I show them, here's a patient you sent home to die, cured. Other patient, you sent home to die, cured. Next patient, you sent home to die, cured.
And cure he did, including people with muscular dystrophy like this young girl. Dr. Gerson's public lectures about his therapy were unpopular amongst his peers. For example, Gerson had spoken out against tobacco since 1920.
Time out for many men of medicine usually means just long enough to enjoy a cigarette.
But in order for the boy to truly be impacted on a personal level, he needed to meet cancer patients to believe it for himself. No more pictures, no more books. Garrett wanted to go to Mexico and listen to their stories. The laboratory tests on the patients are extensive and carefully watched. Most patients only stay at the clinic 1 to 3 weeks and then go home to recover. One of the patients from New Zealand was eager to visit with Garrett.
So how long have you been here?
3 weeks yesterday. I came here straight from the Mayo Clinic in Florida, and I've got melanoma in my bones, spine, leg, liver, lungs, and limbs. Since I've been here, inside myself I feel hugely different, much stronger physically, and I've lost the nausea. Within myself I feel 100% better than when I came. So I came here from the Mayo Clinic. They told me that I had 4 to 6 months to live if I didn't do chemo, and if I did chemo I would have 6 to 8 months to live with what I have. If I had really good chemo, that's like top of the line, and I responded, I might have a year. So looking at those options, I decided to look elsewhere. My sister flew over to meet me, and she was reading Ian Gawler's book about his recovery from cancer. He had bone cancer, where he was given 2 weeks to live. And after trying the Gerson therapy for several months and then adapting it, he's now still alive and has got the Ian Gawler Foundation in Australia. I trust it actually with my life, that's why I'm here.
The really broad description of this war on terror allows the military to keep people like myself and my friends, veterans who've been there once, twice, been there 5 times, been there 3 years or 32 years. It allows the military to breach that contract and hold them in until the military sees fit to let them go. I'm here to tell you about my experience with stop-loss, and the military, how the Army let me down. This is a picture here of me when I was about 10 years old, wearing all camo, having a pair of dog tags, and giving my Boy Scout salute. That boy died in Iraq. This is the proud soldier who enlisted just after Christmas in 2003 to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. That boy is dead. I'm from Belmore, a town in Long Island, New York, 20 minutes out of Manhattan. I could see the smoke when the towers fell on September 11th. On September 12th, I remember standing up in a pizza restaurant and telling everyone about how I wanted to kill everyone in the Middle East, how the Middle East should be turned into a glass plate by nuclear weapons, because that's what I believed. That's what the media had trained me to believe. The media had created a racism inside of me that was unjust. I joined the Army to kill people. I signed up as a forward observer, one of the most dangerous, powerful jobs in the military. My job was to go out and basically annihilate the enemy when we received contact. I was in control. I was authorized to use mortars, artillery. That's what I was trained for. MLRS, multiple launch rocket systems, capable of destroying a grid square, which is 1,000 meters by 1,000 meters. A lot bigger than a city block. When I came home from Iraq, all I did was drink. I'm a severe alcoholic, and so was just about everybody who lived in the barracks with me. We used to go out every Friday, Saturday night, and I would have a 1.75 liter bottle of vodka, and I'd just about finish it. And I blacked out every time. That was my goal. I wanted to black out. I was self-medicating. Imagine living in a place where it gets up to 150 degrees. You don't want to go out during the day. You want to stay in the shade. And at night, American soldiers are rolling around your streets telling you that you can't go outside and you can't talk to your friends, you can't enjoy yourself. You can't gather outside the coffee house or the chai shop, because if you go out past dark, you're committing a crime. So essentially, during the summer months, Sadr City was a prison. 3.2 million people in Sadr City were prisoners of war.